Family, brothers and sisters, members and friends, comrades, Kaiso, 2017, 2018, I'm back. The man Big Lice is here to represent my people. Remember, I'm the people's king, the people's voice.
Dear Lord.
I have a lot to sing, man. Hey, hey, have no fear. Why are you? Me fans say they're vexed, they're disappointed, they're feeling let down, overlooked, rejected. The joker the town. They say they took big risks to assist, uniting this land to help end the crisis. They took a bold stand, now that victory's been achieved. Instead of feeling relieved after 20 years of labor, we still will need to suffer. I don't want to say they lie, but I hear in the people's cry. They say Big Lice, boy, we did not vote for that. You promised us a fresh start, or did you mean it from your heart? They say Big Lice, boy, we did not vote for that. Is the same old God that you appease, while folks like Terry feeling this squeeze? That's a fact, no look how them a laugh and them a try. In front we face, behind we back. Meanwhile I see left you getting fat. They say Big Lice, boy, we did not vote for that. Boy, are you? Big Lice, boy, we did not vote for that. Boy.
Dear Lord.
Pull up, Kaiso, Operation Rescue. Richard Kent, Doya Stefan, keep the faith, man. Continue to keep your feet to the fire. Yes, man, let's change the politics around here. Hey, hey. The fans they look at Doya, who campaign so strong. But now we feeling the pressure, he changing his song. Guys like Lennox, Zalin and Doggy, who thought changing course was best for the country, but now they having buyer's remorse. They're telling me even Sam Conda feel betrayed by his leader. I can't keep up with all them stories about meeting unity, but I don't want to say you lie. I hear in the foot soldiers cry. They say Big Lice, boy, we did not vote for that. You promised us a fresh start, but did you mean it from your heart? They say Big Lice, boy, we did not vote for that. Is the same old God that you appease, while Chris Moonlight feeling this squeeze? That's a fact, no look how them a laugh and them a trap. In front we face, behind we back. Meanwhile I see left you getting fat. They say Big Lice, boy, we did not vote for that. Boy, are you? Big Lice, boy, we did not vote for that. Boy, Kaiso! Imagine people like Alva Hedges, Wendell Watley, and the list goes on. Still running shots, still working, and young people can't get jobs. Come on, man. Hey! Have people jump inside, jump inside. Come on, we didn't vote for that. Come to the farm people, man. A fan, a big Pam supporter, told me recently, Big Lice we must remember who community. You promised us a fresh start and fair share for all, but now we have done our part. The palm people still a ball. If this government don't wise up and realize that people fed up, another 20 years of labor, we just may have to endure. But I don't want to say you lie, but I hearing the voters cry. They say big lies, boy, we did not vote for that. You promised us a fresh start, what did you mean it from your heart? They say big lies, boy, we did not vote for that. They say as far as they can see, Labour still running the country. That's a fact, don't look how them a laugh and them a trot. In front we face, behind we back. Meanwhile I see left you getting fat. They say big lies, boy, we did not vote for that. Whoa, yeah, yo. Big lies, boy, we did not vote for that. Nice, oh. Ooh. 99 and a half won't do, my friend. We need 100%, man, from you. That's what we voted for. Nice. At the Abo Studio. In the Davis family. Hey!
Yes, that's the sound of the man Big Lies. He said we did not vote for that. And brother Big Lies, just in case you're sleeping, wake up out of that dream. You're correct. Labour is still running the country. And partner, we did not vote for that. You're correct. I'm DJ Maurice and I'm coming to you live and direct from my bunker here in the Republic of St. Paul, St. Kitts. Yes, you heard it right. The DJ is back in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and doing well. My good people, today is Wednesday, the 10th of September. We're in the eve of our independence here in our beloved Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. But my good people online, if you're just scrolling the web and running to us and wondering what this podcast is all about, let's take a quick listen and give you some updates.
Wednesday evenings are heating up. Log on to DJ Mauritius's Facebook Live broadcast every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a frank and candid exploration into the social, cultural, political, and economic issues affecting our federation. And just in case you missed it, you can also catch the broadcast on his YouTube channel, DJ Maurice. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and smash that bell. You will be notified whenever he goes live. DJ Maurice, every Wednesday evening, Facebook 6 to 8 p.m. or thereafter on his YouTube channel, DJ Maurice. Log on.
Yes, my good people, I come to you here every Wednesday evening from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. local time in St. Kitts Nevis, and we try to keep it real. The struggles continue. Now let's take a quick listen to my boy there, Spectrum Band, the man Malvern, and here we have to say about the DJ.
Hey, this is Malvern from Spectrum Band, and you're listening to DJ Maurice, playing you the best in Caribbean music.
You got that?
Hey, this is Malvern from Spectrum Band, and you're locked into DJ Maurice. Keep it locked.
Right there, don't you move that dial. And my good people, we're going to jump right into Dwyer Astafan's commentary in a bit for today, Wednesday, 10th September. But before we get into that commentary, let's drop a clip here with a little predictions from my boy there, our icon there, the man himself, Dr. Garfield Alexander.
DJ Maurice, I don't want you guys to take your eyes off him. Remember, he's been around for some time. Let's go back to COVID and lockdowns. The gentleman came in, was locked down in quarantine, and then realized the total hypocrisy, tyranny, and oppression of the then administration during our most horriblest time. Spoke out. Not only spoke out, became an activist. And then you know what he did? Organize and centralize. And he never stopped organizing and centralizing. until Timothy was gone. I don't even want to talk about the involvement he had before and the Douglas administration and the Harris. We ain't gonna talk about that. I'm just talking that during COVID, that man, both on this front, locally, and in the US, waged war against tyranny and oppression. One simple man. A DJ, as he calls himself. He never called himself an engineer or anything else. Just a DJ. Because he understands the power of voice. And not just voice. Autonomous, independent, honest, transparent voice. Always wins in the end. So it could be persons with unlimited power and unlimited money. He somehow always becomes the David against the Goliaths. Be careful with him. Be kind to him. Watch him. Because trust me, he's going to triumph in the end again.
Yes, my good people, and definitely we have to continue. The struggle continues. The struggle is real. Our country is under attack by the newly elected dual-led Labour administration. And we have to take back to the streets and let them know how they got there and what they're there to do. We, the citizens of St. Kitts Nevis, we are their employers. They answer to us. We don't answer to them. They answer to us. And there's some serious matters that we're going to be discussing this evening, kicking off with Dwyer's commentary and some clips. The conversation continues. My good people, save the date. September 26th, that's Friday, September 26th, we'll be doing an awareness march. We're going to be kicking off there at the roundabout right in front of Rams Supermarket, next to the Rams parking lot there, close to one of the entrance going towards Fort Zante. We're going to meet up there around 2:30 on the 26th of September. All are invited. It doesn't matter what party you support. This awareness march is about country and the citizens. So whatever party you support, put the party thing aside. Get your placards, get your walking shoes and come out and join the team. Have a conversation. Let's try and save our country from the grips of these bad actors, as the Prime Minister said in Parliament. So let's take a quick listen to Dwyer's commentary for today, Wednesday, 10 September 2025.
Greetings. Last Friday, Attorney General Mr. Garth Wilkin appeared on the Groundings program on Freedom Radio. And while there, he discussed the proposed Ritz-Carlton project at Friars Bay and other matters. With regard to the Ritz-Carlton, there have been 2 to 3 small beach bar operators at Friars Bay for a number of years, apparently paying rent to private owners on the lease. The present owners, I am told, notified these operators to quit the premises as they were preparing to get the construction started on the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. And apparently, the bar operators want confirmation as to whether the developers or the government own the land. Mr. Wilkins said that all of the Southeast Peninsula lands were privately owned and that the bar operators, by signing the leases, had acknowledged the ownership by those developers. Fair enough. He also asked what our choice would be between 2 beach bars, and I think he described them as shacks, between 2 shacks and a top-class international hotel. Well, I thought that to be an unfortunate and an unflatteringly autobiographical way by Mr. Wilkin to frame his argument. Frankly, for a while there he sounded less like the Attorney General of this country and more like the attorney for a narrow-thinking developer. And I want to believe that the developer of the Ritz-Carlton is not a narrow-thinking developer. I did not sense the empathy which one would expect from the Attorney General of this country, especially the Attorney General in a Labour administration. I did not sense the openness of thought and the openness of heart that ought to be expected from somebody holding his office. I wanted to hear him say that he and his colleagues had engaged the developers and the bar owners on the possibility of coming to an arrangement. There is no reason to exclude that option. A top-class luxury hotel can coexist with 2 or 3 quaint, pristine bar operations to help complete the visitor experience, and everybody benefits in the process. So I wanted to hear him say that he and his colleagues had engaged the developers and the bar owners, but I did not hear him say that. I didn't even hear him say it might be a good idea to consider that. I also did not hear him say that the public would and should be informed and consulted on the project, especially with regard to environmental, social, and economic impacts, even at this late stage of the project, whose origins, just for the record, go back 8 years to October 2017. We got none of that from him. At least from what I heard, I didn't hear any of that. I keep wondering who is faithfully protecting and promoting the interests of the people of our country. And the people of our country includes our good developer friends. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Those who cast their lot with us, we embrace them and we find ways of working together. The primary objective being the empowerment and prosperity of our people sustainably. I keep wondering, after all of these decades, when will the arrogance and the patronizing attitude give way to humble and transparent servant leadership? I keep wondering when prime ministers will stop unelected and unelectable persons from playing more politician than the politicians themselves, and make the unelecteds and unelectables do the work that they are hired to do. Much of the damage done to the goodwill of every administration since 1980 in this country has been caused by the words, deeds, and attitudes of unelected persons. And as much as Mr. Wilkin claims not to be a politician, he certainly puts himself out there as one. At least it seems that way to me. The only post-independence Attorney General who has perhaps been more visibly political than Mr. Wilkin was Vincent Juicy Byron, the man who stood up in the Parliament during the COVID and in no uncertain terms threatened to keep the people of this country locked down until enough of us were vaccinated. And as he spat out his threat at us from the perch of the Parliament, his boss, then Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris, sat in Parliament in murmuring support. Meanwhile, back to Friars Bay, as I ponder again on these unelecteds. And maybe it is that they do what they do because they have this desperate need to overcompensate in their quest for acceptance and validation. So let's get back to Friars Bay and developments generally. I think it becomes magical and promotes much goodwill in the country if relationships are struck between these top hotel and other developments and our pristine small local operators, whether near to the beaches, and of course we have to be careful with rising sea levels and so forth, or elsewhere. Relationships in which the visitor experience is broadened and enriched. A greater chunk of our culture is experienced by the visitors, and increased value added is realized for us. As I said, win-win. Embrace, wed the 2 concepts together. Be creative and find sustainable ways of providing for our people. Our national development policies and plans must always find ways to include our people as key and respected stakeholders and beneficiaries in the action, not just incidental too. Those days should be long past us. Mr. Wilkin, as I said, did not say if he or his colleagues had explored the possibility of a conversation and a collaboration between the shack people, that's my term, and the developer. If they didn't do so, it's not too late. He also said, and this caught my attention, that work on the project is to start next month. As far as I'm aware, as recently as September 5th, 2025, that's last Friday, the project had only been approved in principle, and the planning board had not yet received the final plans or the environmental impact assessment from the developers. Now I know that some of our government departments can work lightning fast, but I also know some of them are snail paced. So we need to know what Kool-Aid these departments might be on to generate approvals, final approvals at this late stage. We want the hotel to be built, but we want it to be done properly and in order so that all can sustainably benefit all developers, the shack people, if you want to call them that, which I don't think is a nice term, and the general public, our workforce, our business community. And while in his presentation, Mr. Wilkins spoke of the creation of lots of jobs, he didn't help us to understand how many locals could get work there in the construction and operation? Since the opening of the Marriott 23 or so years ago and the emergence of the Park Hyatt, we've built out a cadre of excellent tourism workers at all levels of the scale. All levels. We have people here and we have our people in the diaspora itching to get back home if only the opportunities were available. But we're not hearing anything from him on that. At least we didn't on Friday. Maybe he didn't have the information. Maybe when this project starts, we'll be seeing, as we've seen before, time and again, truckloads of foreigners being transported to and from the job site. All of that cash flying out of here. Some not even coming in at all. People taking their pay in their home countries from developers' accounts in foreign lands. Not here. Meanwhile, many of our people keep crying out, not just to make it even Steven at the end of every day or week, financially, but to find food and nourishing food for them and their children. And people are coming in here and all kinds of work, all kinds. You go into some businesses, you have to look hard to find a local, and people from all over the globe. Like we are providing them a safety valve to their unemployment problems and injecting remittances into their economy from ours. And our people go jobless, foodless, houseless. That is not sustainable and it is not right. As our decision makers see these projects coming through, they must see them as part of a whole sustainable development program, not a one shot in the dark kind of thing. They're not silos. They must be seen as part of the overall development plan of the people. I also did not hear Mr. Wilkin embrace the concept of technology transfer, by which skills would be passed on to our people to reduce the need of people working here on work permits for a day longer than they need to. Maximum benefits must be for our people. And of course, the people who invest in these projects and in our economy. On the same program, let me shift a bit. Last Friday, Mr. Rudy Valgrio, a Kititian living abroad, claimed to be the author of the national motto, country above self. And maybe he said something that offended the cabinet secretary, Dr. Marcus Natter. And Dr. Natter promptly called in to set the record straight. But in my opinion, humbly and respectfully, all Mr. Natter did was engage in a display of arrogance, dismissiveness, and pumped up indignation. And that was unfortunate. And in his response, he stated, and I'm paraphrasing, that Mr. Griot's submission to cabinet did not have sufficient substance to go to cabinet. Well, I wonder, is that Dr. Natter's decision to make? The situation is that Mr. Griot has been claiming to be the author of it since 1983. Indeed, he presented it in 1979 when the talk of independence came up. He did not submit in 1983, as I'm told, but it was there in the system. Where it went, I don't know. In fact, I am only saying what I've been told. So I'm not putting them to you as hard fact. But there's no record, they say, of Mr. Griot's connection with the motto. But similarly, there's no record of any other person's connection with it. In the end, it was suggested, and rightly so, that Mr. Griot tried to secure a few affidavits from people who were at high levels in those days to help support his submission to the cabinet. I think that is the right proposal, and I hope he takes the advice, because the motto needs an author, and the author needs to be honored. This is a great motto. If only more of us would follow it. If only more of our politicians and wannabe politicians would follow it. But before the conversation reached there on Friday, I could not help listening to the two men, although Mr. Wilkin was pretty quiet while Mr. Natter was speaking. I couldn't help but wonder about the two of them and their attitude. Both could have been more gentle. Both could have been more conciliatory without losing anything. Both could have been more reasonable and respectful and less dismissive, or not at all dismissive. Why is it that some people so easily get carried away with power, whether elected or unelected, whether the power is entrusted to them or the beneficial owner of it? It seems that the unelecteds are the worst. So I wonder if they know that people are watching and listening and taking notes. And I wonder if the Prime Minister knows that. Thank you.
Yes, my good people, that's the commentary for today, Wednesday, 10th September, by the man, Dwyer Astafan. There's much more to say on that matter where Dwyer did his commentary, and I'm going to leave that for today and move right into the clip that Dwyer referred to on Freedom FM with the AG last Friday, because it's very disturbing to me I do not know about you Kittians and Eviction at home and abroad, but I participate in a campaign to get rid of the farmer administration for a better St. Kitts. I want to say a better St. Kitts for the country, the citizens, and residents alike to enjoy what was given to us. There are many people that paid a great price with their lives and everything, get a lot of knockabout for us to enjoy the freedoms that we have today. And when I look at where we're coming from the Team Unity administration, I can recall on more than one occasion on this podcast, I interviewed the now Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Joe, before he was elected and after he was elected. And one of the things I asked the Prime Minister and leader of the Labour administration prior is that he does not go in there and take the people and take the country for granted and do the same as the former administration, or even worse. And his response was, DJ, that could never happen. I could never be as bad as Timothy. And I have no kind of reservation when I say that. Mr. Prime Minister, so far you have demonstrated to me worse than the former Prime Minister. And as we level the playing field, the promises that was made, the misinformation that you continue to give to the Federation, knowing that is false, is worse than what Timothy was doing. The same things that we campaign and the same thing that we fought about is happening on steroids. Let's take a look at the relationship between our sister island Nevis and St. Kitts. Mr. Prime Minister, is more than 3 years that you promised the DJ and the people of St. Kitts Nevis at your inauguration in Warner Park that you will be the Prime Minister for St. Kitts and Nevis, for the Federation, not just for St. Kitts, and you will demonstrate that. I held you to that statement, and every opportunity I got, I reminded you that you need to go across to Nevis and do a town hall. And I didn't realize at the time that you were just blowing breeze, because I can go back to my clips and I can bring up where you told me at one point on this podcast that your team is working on everything and you'll be going across there shortly. Well, this was before your team started working on Africa, the bridge that you're trying to build from St. Kitts, from the Federation to Africa. Your team been working on a meeting in Nevis. From my understanding, you've been across to Africa on several occasions. Look at the distance between Africa and the Federation in comparison to the distance between St. Kitts and Nevis. How can the DJ in good conscience sit back, no matter how much I may love you and supported you at the time, and be quiet about these things? Whoever your advisors are, they say you have handlers, whoever your handlers are, I do not know what advice they're giving you or whether or not you're listening to anyone, but it does not show good that your statement on the 13th of August, 2022, and your actions towards Nevis is unacceptable. Now, when we look at the electoral office, you and I had many conversations, Mr. Prime Minister, about the situation with the electoral office, because we campaigned on it, we fought on it. I was appointed along with Larry Vaughan to track that electoral office during the election of 2022, the 5th of August. We knew what the problems were. You vowed that you will get in there and you will change that. There was a local election since in Nevis and those same matters. To date, 3 years later, even though the AG promised me that things are in place and some 2 years ago, the matter will be resolved before the end of summer. We have had several summers since. And what I got from the AG instead of coming back to the people and give updates, is silence. Because I guess he cannot lie to me anymore. He realized that I'm not accepting his bullshit. So he does not return calls. He does not return messages. What was funny is last week when I heard the AG made a statement on Freedom FM that journalists back in the 70s, 1975, I think he said to be exact, used to call the other party and get their both sides of the story before they present it. But back then, people used to take calls. People used to return messages. The leaders of today, the entire Labour entourage from the Prime Minister down, they don't return calls, they don't respond to messages. So basically, when you do your own little investigation, you got to work with what you have because you guys don't communicate. As long as somebody disagree with something that you guys say or do, they become enemy of the state. Enemy number one. This is where it's at. Now, let's take a look at the prison project that we campaign on. That's supposed to be fraud, criminal. Mr. Prime Minister, I don't know if I have the time to go into that tonight because I'm going to deal with the Reggie Francis matter this evening, first and foremost. But just in case I don't get to that clip, and I'm going to try my best to get to that clip. You said anyone give away almost half of our population to build a prison should never come to the people again to ask to be reelected. And I agree with you on that. But what you did not tell the people at the time is that you signed off and most of those CORs. That is what the word is on the street, and you have not denied it. The information is that you sign off on most of those. Come and talk to the people. If it's not so, tell the people. Because what's taking place up in Estridge at that prison farm is not fair to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And Timothy need to answer as well, and the Team Unity Administration need to answer as well. Because the DJ would like to know, according to estimates, that prison costs $40 million to build. Well, if that prison costs $40 million to be built, why was 55 shares, 55 files given to Galaxy at the cost of $175,000 to build that prison? When you do the calculation of selling those 5,500 files, 5,500 shares at $275,000 per share is over $900 million. Why the big difference, that gap? Where the money gone? Who's getting that money? Why the country? Why the citizens have to suffer? The economy is so messed up. Small businesses in a mess. Why did you sign off on those CORs after we campaigned about stopping that project? That project is in full bloom. So we need answers on that. Then we have this saga of the Christophe Harbour. When the news broke that there was sale of the harbor over there, the marina, questions were asked. Again, we found out from you, Mr. Prime Minister, that yes, the assets at the marina was sold, but the original contract is intact. But even more so, if this is true, because this is all hearsay, I have a document there that I do not know who wrote that document, because only a crazy man will give away. Even our seabed, as they call it. I call it the seawater. They say the seabed, some 12 miles out from shore, where the Christophe Harbour allegedly received some funds from our SIDF back then, and those funds were used to pay off a bill in the US, not to be invested in our federation. It is also alleged that when they needed more funds, that was directed to our national bank, where they got some funds. These are answers that we need from you, Mr. Prime Minister, before you run across to Grenada and Africa and the UK and to Dubai. We need to deal with our local issues. And these are questions that have to be answered between now and the next polling day. And this is why the people have to ask the question and demand answers and demand the proof. Where the money gone? So when we look at Christophe Harbour, just to name a few, the prison project in Estridge, the ongoing battle between MSR Media and the government and the OTI, and several other monies that is disturbing. We heard about the Butcher Museum project, that millions were spent to get that project going. It's been more than 2 years, it's at a standstill. Then I'm hearing you saying at a round table that the project stopped because you had to do some stabilization. And then you had to go out and put out for tender. I thought it should be tender before construction. Not as appoint someone to do construction and then send out for tender. But nevertheless, the people will deal with all of that when we get around to it. But let's deal with the Reggie matter here in thing, because why are we focusing and taking care of foreign investors, as you all call it, direct foreign investors, but knocking about your local who has been carrying the weight of this federation for all these years? So let's go back to Freedom FM on Friday and listen to our Attorney General speaking with Jamie and Sam Kanda. And trust me, for me, what the AG is saying is very disturbing, because I respect the AG. I actually like the gentleman. I have had very good experience with the AG. Of late, he seems to be very arrogant, disrespectful, and otherwise. But the DJ have had very good experience with the AG. So I'm not going to throw out the baby with the bathwater, as they will say. I will continue to give him that courtesy, because I look at him as someone that has the ability to do right by the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Whatever is guiding them down this direction, we have to pull them back. And when the time is ripe, we know what we need to do. But for now, we have to save our country. And by extension, if we can save this politician that has gone down the wrong road. So let's take a listen to A.G. Wilkin.
Recording it.
The second one has to do with the St. Kitts Marine War.
Yes.
No, another letter has been in the public.
Well, not the letter. If the letter was in the public, it'd be a different story. This one is upsetting to me, because this is a without prejudice letter. Lawyers are not supposed to talk about matters that are in court, right? But since it's in the public realm, I'm going to talk about it, right? And it's very upsetting to me, because it involves my neighbor and friend. And it's unfortunate that it's reached this stage. Okay. The land at New Guinea is the government's land, right? In 2021, the then administration government entered into a purchase and sale agreement.
2021.
2021. A purchase and sale agreement with the owner of St. Kitts Marine Works to sell 20, let me give you the accurate information. 26.68 acres, that land. Okay. For $6 million, just above $6 million. $50,000 was paid. No further monies were paid. So, based on the contract, not our administration, our previous contract, around 11.5 million is now owed, because when you enter into a contract, if you don't pay in time, there's interest that accrues. Okay, so the 6 million now is 11.5 million.
Okay.
Good. So that is money owed for the land. Good.
There was a sale, right?
Agreement for sale.
Agreement. Okay.
I don't believe, and I haven't gotten. Let me not even say that. But there was an agreement to sell the land in 2021. Good. So the operators of the business are saying that they are owed money from the Old Road Bay fisheries rehabilitation. There was a groin built there. I don't know what the original contract price for that was. That was also previous. But they're saying it's around $10 million is owed from that. Public Works is saying no. The maximum potentially could be owed for that is $3 million. 2 to 3 million. The maximum overrun on that contract. Then there were 2 suits for storage of a boat that was owned by the Defense Force and a custom boat or 2, I think, which were claims for $500,000. One was for $500,000 EC, 182,000 US, and one for 88,000 US. So the owner of the business is saying, well, you owe me, I think it's 11, and I don't really owe you 11. I owe you the 6. So you owe me money. Mm-hmm. So if I owe you $100, mm-hmm. and you buy something for me for $100, right? Mm-hmm. Doesn't that make us even? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So the fact is that the government is saying that you owe $11.5 million mm-hmm. for the land mm-hmm. that you're using to operate your business, which you're not paying rent for. Mm-hmm. And to make it worse, you're occupying more than the 26.68 acres. Mm-hmm. So you're occupying more. So we're not even talking about the extra that you're occupying that you owe rent for or you owe additional money for. And if we do owe you money, we only owe you around $3 million. Mm-hmm. So who owes who?
Okay. But based on what the owner is saying, because you're saying that the government owes the owner.
Yes, government does not have any plan, uh-huh. any plan for that land. There is absolutely no.
I'm not there yet. We're going to get there. You're going a little too fast.
No, I saw a video today somebody sent to me talking about Nigeria.
We're going to get there. But based on what you are saying, the owner is saying that he had a contract with the government, with the previous administration, right, who had agreed to pay him X amount.
No.
It was not $3 million.
No.
Right?
That's not what he's saying. He's saying that he had a contract to do the old road. Mm-hmm. He had overages mm-hmm. outside of the contract, more than the contract, that were owed to him. Uh-huh. Right? This is something that he had agreed in 2021 already to buy the land for $6 million. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He paid $50,000.
But he's saying that because the government was so slow in paying him.
This is not a matter of a contractual due for payment. This is someone saying, I did more, or mm-hmm. There's more money due to me, mm-hmm. which they have sued for. Mm-hmm. He has sued for it, you know.
Uh-huh.
It's not a matter of. Okay, so there are 2 different things. There's a contractual amount that is due to you. Mm-hmm. So, for example,
and that contractual amount is the.
That's the. Okay, no.
How much is that contractual amount?
I don't know what the original contract, but that is resolved.
Okay.
What he's saying is over and above the contract, mm-hmm. the government owes me money.
Okay.
He's putting that as, I think, 10 million plus interest.
Yes.
The Public Works Department is saying the maximum this is 3 million. This is the Public Works Department providing the evidence to my counsel. I'm not dealing with it personally. Mm-hmm. And they're saying the maximum he could get from that claim is 3 million.
Okay.
That's a matter for the court. Mm-hmm. Let the court decide. Mm-hmm. But the point is, at the moment, mm-hmm. the government is owed $11 million mm-hmm. in an agreement to purchase the land. Uh-huh. He has not paid the amount. Mm-hmm. The most his claims could be is 3 to 4 million from what the government is saying. Mm-hmm. That means he owes the government money. what he's decided to do, which is unfortunate, instead of letting the matter be resolved in court. And what was upsetting to me about this was a without prejudice letter from my office. Without prejudice, Ambassador Conda, means we're having negotiations behind closed doors.
And he chose to bring it.
And he brought it out.
Okay.
And that's another, I don't know how lawyers are allowing this to happen.
The negotiation was not complete.
And in addition, if the letter has been released, there was without prejudice discussions of a potential settlement. And the letter itself says, and I want to quote it, it says, it must be noted that while eviction is not the government's preference, in good faith, it is the government's hope that your client and Mr. Francis will seek to negotiate regularization of the lands. There was never any plan, immediate or otherwise, for the land.
Okay, so we're at that point where we are hearing that the land is
there is no Nigerian port or anything that has come to cabinet. Container yard, Nigerian or Puerto Rican or Guatemala, none.
Okay.
There's no plan for the land. There is no fear of eviction of boats during the hurricane season. This is all an orchestrated PR plan to try to put pressure on the government to forego the government's claims.
Now, Attorney General,
it's unfortunate.
There is also a claim of conflict of interest on your part.
Oh, really? He said that?
No, he didn't say it. I'm saying it.
Oh, okay.
Because he's saying that you were his lawyer.
I was his lawyer in two matters.
On this matter, where he was suing the government.
I was his lawyer in relation to his initial issue with the contract. I am the Attorney General. I don't deal with matters in litigation in court. The only matter I've dealt with is a matter in the Court of Appeal. I don't deal with nitty-gritty matters. But I am the only person that can speak up for the office and defend the office. There's absolutely no conflict of interest. Okay. I am not involved in his litigation against the government. I am not involved.
So what?
And didn't he say he's my neighbor and friend as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so why is he going on social media and on television programs and saying nasty things about me?
You know, we tend to do that all the time in St. Kitts. We talk about people and say that they're our friends on social media.
Yeah, but it's different when it's your neighbor.
That's not, it doesn't matter, right? So that's not really surprising.
One of the things you realize as a minister that, I'm sure Ambassador Conda has experienced that in the past.
Yeah, I don't. Well, the way I operate is that way I operated in the past is that I didn't take those things personally.
Yeah. Yes. At the end of the day, he's fighting for his cause. I have no problem with fighting his cause, but I've come here to say what the facts are.
Okay, so these are the facts. But where are we now?
The facts are where we are now is that the government is owed millions of dollars for the land.
Is the government still willing to negotiate?
Government is always willing to negotiate.
Okay.
Jamie, he employs people. He has a business, operational. The government does not want to close down his business, but also, should the government be giving away their land for free? Should the government...
I don't think anybody expects the government to give away the land for
who
free.
Is the custodian of the people's land, it's not the government's land, it's the people's land, should they be giving it away for free?
When I listen to that conversation with the AG, I just have to laugh to myself. Because if we put what he's explaining to us here side by side with the Christophe Harbour saga, millions of dollars appear to have been given away by the government, US dollars, if we were to look at it down that road. According to the Prime Minister, the old agreement is still intact after 20 years of not delivering the 17 billion they claim that will come into the economy. So I am at a loss. I really would like to have that conversation with the AG and his team or whoever the mediators are to see and explain to them what they're doing to our locals. The foreign investors come in with nothing, they get the red carpet. The locals try, they get the shaft. I'm just running this clip for this evening just to pep it up, that folks will understand what's going on. We're going to get more deeper into it next week. As the weeks progress, as I said, we will be doing an awareness march come the 26th of September. Between now and then, these clips are going to be run. We're going to be bringing the information and demand that this government, this cabinet understands what is taking place. You heard the AG acknowledge that there is a potential contract in place for Mr. Francis to purchase that land since 2021. That is not settled. Well, I've been doing a little investigation myself since Monday. And I came across some information, and I hope it's not true. I really hope it's not true. Because the information that I gathered is that the Sustainable Department is basically giving letters, land letters to individuals that St. Kitts Marine Works currently operate, occupied, and have contracted to purchase. So why would Sustainable be giving individual letters for areas that St. Kitts Marine Works is currently operating on? That 26 point whatever acres of land, that is what is in contract to be purchased. Why is Sustainable giving out that land without this matter settled? And the eclipse, I'm not going to play them now, like I said. I'll wait until next week and do a more overview of this thing. Because while the AG is saying that there is no Nigerian, there is no plan for that area, I have clips right here with the minister, Mr. Samuel Duggins, during a campaign talking about building a pier at New Guinea. There's also a clip where he's talking about everything is in place and ready to go. Why I really going to hold off on that clip is because today I was rushing. I was really trying to get the distance. What is the miles or the acres or whatever? What is the distance of New Guinea? What is the size of New Guinea? I know where St. Paul's begins and where it ends. I'm not sure where New Guinea ends. Is it possible that there can be a third port replaced in New Guinea? Because currently, I know that right next to Mr. Reginald Francis, there's a gentleman from Virchilds that operates a boat yard. I think his name is Danny, right next to Mr. Francis. So when I'm going to hear the AG say that there's no plan for no port and there's no this and there's no that, I am still doing my investigation. So I will not be coming full throttle this evening on the matter until I get some solid information. I need to go over there and see where New Guinea starts and where its end to see if what the AG is telling us is for real. But let's take listen to another clip here from the AG.
There was never any plan, immediate or otherwise, for the land.
Okay, so we're at that point where we are hearing that the land is...
There is no Nigerian port or anything that has come to cabinet. Container yard, Nigerian or Puerto Rican or Guatemala, none.
Okay.
There's no plan for the land. There is no fear of eviction of boats during the hurricane season. This is all an orchestrated PR plan to try to put pressure on the government to forego the government's claim.
And I told you in half a tree, about the pier that we are looking to bring to New Guinea. I told you about the commercial dock we are looking at for New Guinea. And I want to tell you that the developers have told me that they are primed and ready for this pier. And we now have the right tools, the right backing, and I am pleased to tell you that within the next year or less, you will have boats docking at the pier in New Guinea, ready to serve the people of our constituencies. Small cruise ships will be docking at New Guinea.
So, my good people, like I said, there's a couple of clips that I have here with the minister responsible for that area speaking about his plans and what is in place. So I'm trying to figure out, is it that there's not communication in cabinet amongst these ministers? Is there different cabinet within cabinets? Because I can recall during the Team Unity administration, Premier Brandt said he was in the yard when they were making decisions in cabinet. So I'm wondering if while Mr. Duggins and whoever was making agreements for this project in New Guinea, if the AG was in the yard, because it's clear that they're speaking about New Guinea. And like I said, I need to check for myself the space that is consists that they call New Guinea to see if they can put a third boat yard, whatever there, to get some clarity, my good people. So I am just bringing you the information as the investigation unfolds. I am not here to ask anyone to think differently to whatever you want to think. You have a right, use your own common sense to say if what you're hearing, if it makes sense. Because if you have a minister of justice that advised the government and advised the prime minister and Mr. Duggins telling us here that there's no plan and taking Mr. Francis' place where he's occupied and whatever, then why is the minister out there telling the general public something different? Now, another thing that caught me last Friday, which I know that is how the AG operates and how he thinks. As long as you don't agree with him on something, you're anti. You're anti this, you're anti that. He shuts you down. He does not give you the respect to be a critical thinker. And I think if the AG can just make some adjustment in that area and just listen a little more, he could become a very good AG. Just listen and understand that you don't have all the answers, but the AG. You know, whatever you guys want to do to the DJ, bring it on. I have no problem. Knock me about. You all have done that. Continue to knock me about. But please, ease up off Reggie. Let the man continue to do his business. He's a son of the soil. He's a hard worker. His background, his family background have done a lot for this federation. So ease up off Reggie. Continue to beat up on the DJ. DJ have no problem with that. But ease up off Reggie. Now, my boy, Ira McMahon, who was one of the guys on my team when he was dealing with the get rid of them. And I got to give Ira some credit because of the entire team of individuals that I work with, Ira seems to be consistent. It does not matter which government is in power. He is down the middle, just as I tried to be. And to hear the AG, the way that he speaks to Ira and about Ira, it's kind of sad. To use a mild word, it's sad because these people that are doing this damage to us, to the country, is the people that we fought to elect, is the people that we elected. They don't have any appreciation, no respect. They have arrived. They can sharp up and go to church. They can fly and play in first class. They can go to Africa. They can take the country tax money and take charter jets from RLB to South Africa, but they cannot take a ferry across to Nevis to talk to the divisions. So let's take a listen to this other clip.
And let's move on quickly. Good afternoon. You're live.
Good afternoon. It's unfortunate that the Attorney General has presented the fires the issue in such, well, ostensibly in such stark terms as, do you want a Ritz-Carlton with all its jobs, etc., or shacks on the beach, right? I mean, I pay attention to social media and talk shows and so on. I don't hear many, if any, people saying that they would not like to have a Ritz-Carlton here. And why can't there be a happy medium where these going concerns that have been there for some time are either compensated in some way for having to move, rather by moving them elsewhere or just giving them some kind of monetary compensation, right? Or integrate them into the design of the new property, right? I don't know if the setbacks from the water line can accommodate these bars, but look at what's happened in Pinnis Beach, where Four Seasons, which is high end as well, you have bars there that are accommodated, and they live in pretty good harmony, I think. Okay, so I don't like the impression given that the government is facilitating developers and at the expense of local people. And no, I noticed too that the same kind of thing was done with the special sustainability zones. The Attorney General didn't mention it.
Because we didn't have time this afternoon, but we'll get to that. He'll be back this month.
But the thing is, the Premier made it sound like, well, it's going to be 4 seasons plus, as opposed to leaving Nevis in wasteland. It's just the whole perception of the government in its haste to attract foreign investment, because it has not been so successful in the past, is desperate to appease these investors, and when in fact their prime interest should be taking care of the voters who, well, are the ordinary people with businesses and so on, who they're actually working for. They voted.
So, Mr. McMahon, you are against foreign direct investment that will create jobs for the voters. That's what you're saying?
Wait. When did I say that? I'm sure I said I didn't hear. You
said that the government is trying to bend over backwards for private developers.
I'm sure I said that the perception is that the government is trying to bend over backwards to appease foreign investors, okay, at the expense of local people with businesses here. And I'm saying
the government doesn't own the land, Mr. McMahon.
No. But the government regulates, okay?
And it doesn't own the land that the squatters are on.
But I'm saying.
So what is the bend over backwards mechanism?
The developers cannot do anything on that property without sanctions having the permission of whether it's the building board or whoever else. Okay? So that's what I'm saying.
But is that bending over backwards, giving planning permission? I'm trying to understand what is the extra that you're suggesting that the government is doing, that is the bending over backwards at the detriment of people. That's what I'm trying to understand.
Didn't the government serve notice that the bars should be removed?
No, the developer did. The government wrote a letter when it was suggested by the lawyers for the bar owners that they were not on the private property, they were on the public beach. The letter went to explain that the private beach is vested in the government, in the crown, for the use of the general public, not for commercial activity. So even if they were on the beach, they had no permission to be there.
Right.
The notice to quit was issued by the landowners, who are private entity.
Right. So was it in fact established that these bars were on the owner's property, on the developer's property?
Yes, by the very leases that the bar owners signed in 2017.
Okay, because when we look at them, I mean, we know the bars. When we look at them, they seem to be virtually on the beach. But anyway.
Okay, Mr. McMahon, we are out of time.
Right.
So we have to go.
Yeah.
And we do have something coming up right after this program, okay?
All right. So with that conversation, Mr. McMahon was chased off the phone. Now, the DJ, in his own style, liked to see things for himself. So I arrived in the Federation on Sunday evening, and first thing Monday, I went across to Friars Bay to take a look at what's over there. I honestly been to various of those other bars, but never been to Shipwreck. So I actually went into Shipwreck for the first time on Monday, and lovely place. And I would hope that the government understand that a place like that need to be held, not destroyed. I also went down to the other end and checked the bar further down and the far end. And without being a surveyor, just through my eyes, these bars are on the beach, not on private land. And if those lands was given to private people, then I guess we are violating everything that we say Papa Bracha says about beach access. And we can go around the island and find several investors that are on the beach, that has properties built on the beach. Right here, just off the block from me. You go to Date Bay, Arthurs is on the beach. You go across to Frigate Bay. There's a whole house built on the beach in the corner there where we used to hang out on a Sunday whenever they had outing for the church. Where these bars are, I think the government need to look at this thing again and ensure that these bars stay where they are. Now, I happen to get a glimpse of a lease from one of those bars. And this lease was generated in 2012. And the corporation that lease supposed to be here coming from, that office was housed in the same building as where the St. Kitts Nevis mission was. Up until recently, it has relocated to Lower Manhattan. But for years, I've been to this building. The address is 414 East 75th Street, New York, New York. So I would like to know a company that is housed at 414 East 75th Street in the same building where the office of the St. Kitts Nevis mission was for years is sending letters to our citizens here to charge them. Basically, it was $100 per month US for those lands. And through my investigation, it appears as though something is not settled, because while the beach bar owners had rejected the $100 US per month at the time and did not sign that particular contract, they might have signed a contract eventually, but only to find out that when a survey was done, that these bars are actually on Crown lands. So I really would like to have that conversation with the AG. Citizen to citizen, advocate to Attorney General. Reasoning, not political banter, not no hatred between the DJ and the AG, but common sense. Let common sense kick in. Let us speak about the facts as they are. Because, Brother AG, I would say to you that those bar owners, they have license to operate in that area. They were given license via the licensing authority, via tourism. Dwyer Astafan, during his watch as tourism minister, authorized bars to operate over there. Ricky Skerritt, during his watch, gave authorization letters for those bars to operate over there. So it's not like these people just get up overnight and go out there and do things. They got permission. They have a license. Whether they expired or they're enforced, the bottom line is in the past, they all had license to operate there. And I believe they're on Crown lands. And once they're on Crown lands, the government need to do everything within their power to ensure that those bars continue to operate. Because what I observed there was a cruise ship in on Monday. And I did not realize that Shipwreck and these other bars serve that kind of lunch, that kind of real food. It's a real experience. It's a real cultural experience. And to talk about this big hotel, this lavish hotel, if we want them to leave, well, if they cannot be a part of the culture, let them leave. You talk about somebody squatting on somebody land in the corner of the yard and throw them off and all this kind of stuff. Hey, Mr. AG, if I come to your house, ring your bell, and your family come out and have a good conversation with the DJ, and the DJ come in and sit down under your mango tree and decide, well, I like the atmosphere, so you got to change what you're doing in there to accommodate me. Would you like that? When these foreign investors come into the country, they must understand that their local citizens live here. Remember, a lot of people got killed, slaughtered, when they came in to invade, to take over this country. You know? That's what you all want to happen to us now. That's what you all try to tell the DJ. Well, I'm going to drop another clip here. Well, 2 clips. I really don't want to go too late, but I'm going to drop these 2 clips because I want the people to have the information that there's the AG side and then there is Mr. Francis' side. So let's take another listener here to the AG.
Point.
Okay, let me just finish up. Let me just finish up one to say on this matter, if I can, Jamie. Okay, good. So the point is, these matters are in court, right? These matters in court. Why is this in the public realm? Matters in court are sub judice. This was a without prejudice correspondence. What could be the other purpose to bring this to the public than to try to put pressure on the government? The government has a contract for sale of the land. There's money is on the contract. He has a contract, and he says that there's more money is owed to him on his contract, and he has a contract for storage of boats. Let the matters be resolved in court, and let's deal with the matter. I am not personally dealing with the matters, but I have to defend the office. I don't want to be talking about this matter, you know, Jamie, because I can tell you, in extreme good faith, myself and another minister sat in the office with Mr. Francis and said, how can we solve this thing? How can we solve this thing? This overall, not the global resolution. And the matter was not resolved. The matter was not resolved, so why is it now in the public realm? Just deal with it in court. Let everybody bring their case to court. If he owes us money, he'll have to pay the money. If we owe him money, we have to pay him the money. But what I'm telling the people, as the fact when you're having the debate on this matter, is not what you hear on what is posted on Obi Powell or on SKN Newsline or whatever, about any Nigerian container, anything. Nothing goes so. Nothing goes so. The state is saying in the correspondence, you owe us $11.5 million. The most you are potentially owed is $3 million. That means that $8 million is owed to the state. What is the state supposed to do? And there's nothing about closing down. No government in its right mind is going to close down a boatyard that is storing people's boats during the hurricane season. I mean, why do people think that the government's the devil? That's why I don't understand. And the reason is there's a reason behind it. When you don't want to deal with matters in court, you come to the public realm. Simple as.
Okay, Brother AJ, I would advise you to look into the matter there at the Sustainable Office and check and see if in fact that they're giving out letters for lots of land in that area where St. Kitts Marine Works occupies. But my good people, yesterday, Mr. Francis had an interview on Freedom FM giving his side of the story. So let's listen to Brother Francis giving his side of the story.
Let's see if he's there. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ms. McPhail.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, nice. This is Reginald Francis, yes.
Nice.
Okay. Now, Mr. Francis, I want to first get a little bit more familiar, more familiar with your business. How long have you been the owner of St. Kitts Marine Works, and how long have you been operating in the New Guinea area?
Okay, so I'm the founder of St. Kitts Marine Works. I formed the company, I think it's 2004. I stand to be corrected, but it's over 20 years ago. I started doing construction, marine construction. We did the breakwater at Port Zante. We had other companies which we ran ferries and so forth.
Okay. So that's over 20 years, 2004, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So you are presently operating at New Guinea. Did you start there?
Yes, that's where we had the breakwater. This happened after we did Port Zante. I had a boat and we needed a haul out. We didn't have that in the Federation. So I went out and I found the area. It was the ocean was reaching the main road, actually undermining the main road. They had swampland there, which had cane field in the past, but was full of cowage.
Right.
So it was not a popular field. I remember playing paintball down there. When you try to play paintball, you start itching. That's when we found out the field was full of cowage.
Right.
Okay. So you have been operating there for over 20 years. Now, what was the original arrangement? Were you just squatting on the land?
No. So I approached the government about purchasing, I think it was 5 acres at first. At the time, they said no, they want to lease me. But the rate they wanted to lease me was ridiculous. I have very good parents, and they taught me very well. You're paying lease or renting a piece of land, you're throwing money away. The rate they wanted to charge actually turned out to be, after 3 years, I would have paid for the land. So I lobbied and showed how the investment was required. I mean, it's better for me to buy it because, as it was, like I said, we had to reclaim that land. All the land from the road going down to the ocean has been reclaimed. We built a breakwater outside. That was significant expense because we had to bring the boulders from the quarry and fill material from Port Zante. Each truckload, I remember, with the boulders back then was like $400 EC a trip. So a lot of locals made money from it because I hired local truckers. I've always been giving back in terms of giving people the opportunity to use their little equipment that they may have to make money.
Okay. So you invested in the land. The government wanted you to lease the land, but you... Go ahead.
I don't want us to move too far because that is a critical point there. So you got a lease for the land, or it was up in the air for discussion and still up in the air for discussion?
It was. They gave me a proposal for leasing. I told them I wanted to purchase. So that went back and forth, negotiating back and forth until 2021, I think it was, January. If I'm not mistaken, the 22nd of January 2021, I finally got a sale agreement because the government didn't want to lease me to sell me the land until I proved I could use it and I needed it. So I went through a process of 5 acres, then 15 acres, then more. As I proved I needed, for example, I remember they told me I had 1 year to prove that I needed it, and I showed that I filled out the space in like less than 3 months. So in 2021, 22nd of January, if I'm not mistaken, they gave me a land sales agreement, a price, which was the market price at the time, $4.50 a square foot. That's the price of commercial land. They put in a lot of other stipulations in there, which were very stiff at the time, but I guess it's on the heels of elections, and I had no choice but to just accept the terms.
So it was for the 5 acres, or it was for the 15 acres?
Oh no! On the 22nd of January 2021, that was for 26.68 acres.
26.68 acres.
Yes.
That's
basically the land we're on right now.
Right. So the sales agreement was for 26.68 acres.
Yes.
Okay.
So it took almost 20 years to get that sales agreement.
It did. It was a very big challenge to prove that I needed it.
Right.
And even after the infrastructure was there and the employment opportunities that the government saw, I think that is what really held them back and say, look, okay, let's see what we could do with this.
Okay. So you entered into that arrangement. Tell us a little bit about the stipulations, because you said some of them were quite harsh.
Yes. So in the agreement, they required me to pay for the land in 1 year. That's $4.50 a square foot. If I didn't complete that, I would have to pay $7 a square foot. And I would have to pay 12% interest per year after that if I didn't complete. Very important to note, in the sales agreement, there was no timeline specified.
Okay. There was no timeline specified after the 1 year.
Correct. I just have to pay the 12% interest. Oh, one more item. I would have to put in a road access to the adjoining commercial lands.
Through your property or on the periphery?
On the border of my property. So on the western side, from the main road, I'll have to cut the road. It works out to be about 850 feet. It'll run between myself and the neighbor, heading north, and then it turns east to adjoin to the commercial properties which are on the eastern side of me.
Okay. So that was in 2021.
Yes.
Can we fast forward?
Yes, we can.
So we're now in 2025, and tell us about the current situation.
So I have done work for the government, expecting to get paid. This work was in the Odo Fisheries Complex, building a breakwater. The work was completed, as previous guests would have pointed out. The certificate number 10 showed a 0 balance and 0 work to be finished, meaning the job was completed. Mm-hmm. But the payment for the work that was done was not finalized because there were outstanding matters. The job originally was for $6.2 million. It was supposed to take 5 months. If St. Marine Works did not complete the job in 5 months, St. Marine Works would have been required to pay $5,000 per day in penalties to the government. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the contract, it has that, $5,000 per day. In the contract, in Section 8.2, it clearly states after the deadline, any delays, the $5,000 is payable to the employer, but it is limited to 20% of the contract value. So basically, I can't keep on paying $5,000 continuously forever. After I reach 20% of the contract value, then the $5,000 stops. If the contractor is responsible for not completing on time.
Mm-hmm. But you're saying that you completed on time.
No, well, it was not the contractor's fault for not completing on time because the contract had the government to supply the stones to do the job. They were supposed to supply the stones within the 5 months, which would have been a lot less because we had to prepare the area first. But it took the government 36 months to supply the stones. Okay. In that 36 months, I was not allowed to take my equipment out. Or should I say, if I took my equipment out, I would have forfeited the contract.
Was there a stipulation within the contract that asked the government to pay you because of overtime?
Overruns.
Yes. Overruns, cost overruns. So in the contract, you have what's called standby charges. So that's a period when the contractor is standing by, ready to work for some whatever reason, he can't continue. If it's the government's fault, these are the rates you pay. So the contract has that in. So that is the area where we are claiming.
Okay. How much are you claiming?
The overruns after the contract, after the amounts that were paid so far, the overruns and the unpaid balances, it came up to like 10.4 million EC dollars. I don't have that figure in front of me, but it's around that at the time.
Hold on, Reggie. So the contract plus the overruns came up to like 10 point something?
No, just the overruns.
The overruns.
The overruns. So the contract was 6.2 million. They've only paid me 5.1 so far. So they owe me 1.1.
On the contract,
from the original contract.
On the original contract, correct.
Yes, from the original contract. Plus the cost overruns, which will bring the cost overruns plus the 1.1 brings it up to about 10.4.
Okay.
No, 10.4 back then.
Okay.
Which should have been like 3 years ago.
Okay.
Okay. Did you have any stipulation in the contract that will allow for interest to be paid on the monies owed?
So that question, that very good question. I am not 100% sure what the value was for that interest amount. That was done in the overall calculation that the lawyers put in.
Okay.
So what happens? The handicap in the contract. The contract calls it's a FIDIC contract, so it's a general contract used around the world.
Right.
And in general, it says that the court of final arbitration is the International Court of Arbitration, which is, I think, it's Paris. So that was my biggest handicap. But I took it to court locally, and the master, because if both parties agree, we could have a final court in St. Kitts. But the contract has it that way because the FIDIC contract, it makes provision. So if a company comes from Europe who work in St. Kitts, they have a place that they could go, which is neutral ground and not be limited to just St. Kitts. And a court that they could go to is neutral ground, so all parties could be represented fairly.
Right.
Okay. So the total that you are claiming owed to you is?
It's 10.4.
No. So there are a few items that I'm claiming. First item is from Old Fisheries. The original amount was 10.4 plus interest for the last, I think, 3 or 4 years. And the government has the Coast Guard vessel Stalwart. It's been down by my place for about 7 years. That's a 110-foot Coast Guard cutter.
Right.
Customs has about 4 or 5 boats down by me for about 4 to 5 years each. So all that, when you add up the interest and the storage fees and on my end, it comes up to over $15 million.
Okay, so tell us how this is connected to the sales agreements that you have in place.
Well, hold on. Just before we get there, what's the dollar value on the 26.68 acres?
Okay. According to the government, the letter that they wrote to me on the 31st of July, the dollar value is $6.02 million, around that range. EC.
They wrote this to you when?
They wrote this on the 31st of July in the letter that they wrote as, I'll have to pull it up. I forgot the name. That's the 3-page letter that the Attorney General spoke about.
Okay.
They specified the value of the land.
So did that letter include interest payments?
No, the letter specified the value of the land as that. But then they specified the value that they're selling me for, because I signed the purchase agreement, which had in the increased value plus interest of 12%. So in the same letter, they said the value of the land is $6.02 million, but they're selling me for $11.4 million.
After a year?
No,
this is after 2 years.
Remember, it was 2021.
2021, so that's 4 years.
4 years. So 3
years of 12% interest on the balance of the amount of $7 a square foot times 26.68 acres.
So the current value is what?
The current value is a little over $6 million. The market value at the 450.
Okay.
Which is the price that the government would sell commercial land for normally.
Right.
But they're selling you at a higher price.
At 11.7, which I signed for because I did the purchase agreement expecting to get paid from the government, the 10 million, which I would pay the 6 million for.
Okay.
Have you paid on the property thus far?
I paid a token, $50,000. You know, sometimes you can put down $1, which is what I did to establish the contract.
Okay.
So it's not like, oh, he only paid $50,000 on the land and he expects to get it. No, it's just a token because I'm expecting to get this money to pay it off.
Right.
So these are two very distinct situations, right? We are speaking about the sales arrangement for the land, and we are also speaking about monies that are owed to you based on another contract, right?
Yes.
So tell us how they are connected.
Okay, so, well, when I do work, I expect to get paid. Mm-hmm. The contract was very clear. I was not paid properly. So I did what I thought was the right thing to do, go to the court. I got legal advice from my friend, my neighbor. I hired him. That's the Honorable Garth Wilkins, who is now the Attorney General. At the time, he was not. He was working with the firm Kelsick, Wilkin and Ferdinand. I think he's a primary owner, partner. I'm not sure the terms he used, if he still is, but at the time he was. I met at his chambers with other lawyers there to discuss two matters: the old road fisheries and the quarry. Now, obviously, when you have a lawyer, you hire them, you expect a certain level of confidentiality. You'll speak to him, you'll express your concerns, your pros and your cons of the case. After hearing the pros and cons, we agreed, that's the lawyers and myself, that the quarry matter was a 50-50 shot. It's a lot bigger case. It was a $14 million claim. But they were, in cases, sometimes even though you're right, you may lose. So we looked at it. We did not want to go through a case and lose. So the other matter was old road fisheries. And Mr. Wilkins, my lawyer at the time, advised me, let's pass on the quarry matter, because that's a 50-50 chance. Those are his estimations. But the old road fisheries is a definite win. It's straightforward, everything to the point. We'll have this in the bag. I took his advice, and I said, yes, okay, this sounds good. We went through all the details. He wrote, Garth Wilkin at the time, wrote to the government. I think one of the letters went to the Honorable Sean Richards, who was the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Public Works of that time. And he responded. I have those correspondences to prove that Garth. I even found one of the meeting minutes, which turned out to be on the 28th of July, 2021, at 8:30 in the morning till 10:30. He blocked out that time, and that's the time I met. And we met in his chambers more than once. During this time, I pointed out to him, in the discussions, one of the weaknesses we found for us is that the contract calls for the International Court of Arbitration. Now, it's a very expensive process to go to the International Court. You have to put the money up front. It turns out for this case, I didn't have the figure at the time, but we are about to go to the International Court of Arbitration, and I have to put up $800,000 up front to take this case to International Court of Arbitration. I was forced to this level after 2 years ago. Like I said, my new lawyer, Elliot Hamilton, we filed it in court, made an attempt to see if the government side will come and agree to having it done locally. In that court, the Zoom meeting, it was a Zoom meeting, you could see everyone and hear everybody. The master asked, why don't we have this locally? Because it involves a local person. Both sides are local. It happened in St. Kitts. There's no reason for International Court of Arbitration. The counsel for the government responded with a smirk. She said she's been given direct instructions that this is only to be dealt with International Court of Arbitration. The master went over it again and said, why don't we do mediation? She replied, no, this has to be International Court of Arbitration. That's her direct instructions.
And what date was this?
That was in August. Oh boy, I don't have the date. This is like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Okay, August made 2 years. I know that. Because we said, look, 2 years gone by.
So
in
that's
that 2 years.
2023?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yes, August 2023. In that 2 years, I've been trying to raise 800,000 because there's no other way I could get this case going forward because that stumbling block was put up by the government side. I was forced to sell my mother's house to get that money after discussions with my son to say, look, I'm going to give up $1 million to go after $12 million because at the time the amount was up to $12 million after interest and charges. And we have no way of losing because right off the bat, the government owes us the $1.1 million, which they haven't paid. So even if everything else goes wrong, which 95% for sure it cannot, we will get the money back because whoever loses has to pay that $800,000.
Right.
So I have to put up my front but government's going to find a reason why they don't put up theirs. So we are going the realistic route. I have to find 800,000. I now have found the 800,000 by selling my mother's house. Ready to go forward with it.
Wow.
In the meantime, I see articles coming up. Well, I mean, I must say, I have always been trying to settle this matter. No one has heard about it in the streets because it's in court. I've been very quiet about it, dealing with the ministers, lobbying to say, look, why can't we settle this out of court? Why are you all letting it go to court? Showing them how I have earned that money. I'm not begging the money, I have earned it. But they have been always pushing me to the side.
So basically, you have been unable to pay for the land because you have not
been
paid.
That's correct.
Okay. So I want to kind of get into the discrepancies that were raised when the Attorney General was here last Friday, because you are saying that you are owed over $10 million, correct?
Over 15.
Over 15.
Okay, over 15. Well,
right.
Over 15 is over 10. So, right?
Right.
But
it is the amount due plus interest plus the storage fees.
Yes.
Correct.
But Attorney General Wilkin, when he was here, he said, and I'm certain that you have listened to the program, he said that according to Public Works, the most that you are owed is $3 million. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Well, I did listen to his speech probably 3 times. And you realize what you said? According to Public Works.
Yes,
he
that
has
is
never
what he said.
His lawyers have looked into it. He's always said, according to Public Works. Now, if Public Works came and said, well, look, we owe the man $100 million, don't you think he would have looked into it or had his lawyers look into it and said, boy, that's a lot. Let me see what it is? I think his lawyers looked into it and realized the clause that they're claiming. Public Works is claiming the 20% limit, which is Section 8.7 of the contract. That 8.7 is for the contractor if the contractor is late. But they're conveniently forgetting that part, and they're blaming Public Works. He has never said anything except Public Works say. Don't you think he should look into it? Because I wrote, and my lawyers wrote to them, both of us, explaining the 8.7, and we highlighted it in the contract. It clearly says the contractor. So that does not apply. So what we feel really good about is that they actually admit that they owe. And in the letter, the same 3-page letter they wrote to us, they're limiting it to 20%. So of the contract, which is what the contract says, if the contractor was at fault. But the government not providing the stones and me being required to keep my equipment there. It's like a carpenter. He goes and buys equipment to do a job. He expects to take five days to do the job, expecting to get a certain return, paying laborers, and then move on. All of a sudden, he can't get any more money, but the money he expects to earn in the 5 days and the money he spent to get that, he now has to spend 36 days. So he's going to be at a major loss, which is what happened to me. I had job offers in Dominica for that same machine. Afterwards, I had job offers in St. Lucia. I could have made more than 3 times that money with that time frame, with that same machine, if I was allowed to take it out or complete the job.
Yeah, that sounds like a lost situation there. In the sense where the machine is there, you can't move it, otherwise you're going to breach your contract, and you can't get other jobs to supplement what's going on, because then the machine is tied up on the job site.
Exactly.
Now,
the situation I have, in discussions with Mr. Wilkin at the time, before he became Attorney General, as he said, we discussed the weaknesses. The arbitration situation was one. And the other thing I've always expressed, even in those early meetings, I don't want to go through courts. Yes, I don't mind lawyers making money, but I don't want to make all the money from the deal, because when you go through courts, the lawyers who are making money. The other thing I wanted was to negotiate. I didn't want to lose the land because I had a lot invested in it, and governments could be spiteful and find some way of humbugging you up, cutting off a piece of land, giving you the wrong piece, giving you a smaller piece, giving you something you can't. So many things they could have done. But I've always said, and every single correspondence and every opportunity I get, even now, I'm saying I would like to negotiate, settle this thing, get it over with. I do need to finish this matter because there's a 6-year statute of limitation on claims. My only big claim is the oral fisheries. So within the next 2 years, I have to file and get this matter over with. It turns out they're going to have elections in 2 years. So what happens? Are they going to kick this down to the next government or to the next when they go in office again? I think, this is my opinion, I think that's what they're trying to do.
So in the meantime, you have been quite vocal on other media outlets saying that you feel that there is something else at play.
But that is where I wanted to get, where it seemed, what I'm hearing is that the government is trying to evict Reggie off the land.
Well, good friend.
wait, because while the Attorney General was here, and I have to put in this because it's just a matter of fact. While he was here, I did ask him about claims about a Nigerian developer coming in and taking over that same land, that same area. And he said that those claims were completely false. I think he said there was no Nigerian, no Puerto Rican, no Guatemala, no development happening in that area. So, Mr. Francis, my question will then be, what would lead you to believe that that's the case?
Well, I have contacts and friends all over the world, including Grenada, St. George's, Grenada. On the 28th of July, 2025, I was informed and sent documents and pictures of the Prime Minister signing a $50 million loan agreement, and Samuel Duggins, Honorable Samuel Duggins, signing a $40 million port enhancement project agreement. Now, the agreement, I'm going to try to read it. It says the Agriculture Minister Samuel Duggins signed a U.S. $40 million agreement with Gemini Commodities Limited and the African Export-Import Bank, AFRAM Bank, for the development of a deep water port in the New Guinea area. This is the text from that contact I had. Now, New Guinea is kind of small. I think my boatyard has the only major entrance to the ocean. They have a lot of houses here. I don't see any other place for the government to get a port in unless it's by me. Now, keep in mind, I did communicate with those same individuals for the Afram Bank, and the minister introduced them to me as possible investors who would like to develop the marine sector in St. Kitts. I pointed out to the minister, I have everything under control in terms of financings for developing down there. I already have the piles. I have the equipment, I have the barge, the crane, the expertise, the employees for installing it. I even have the sand and the stones for making it. All I needed was the cement. And I have that under control. I have other people to invest. But in good faith, and since they wanted to help the country, I shared my information with them, including the EIAs and my business proposal and so forth. So this actually went on, and we had phone conference calls and so forth. This is before the signing I saw on the 28th. But keep in mind, the 28th is when I found out they signed that. On the 31st, which is 3 days later, is when I got the notice. I have to call it an eviction letter. They call it I'm trying to find the letter here now. Hello?
Yes, we're here. We're listening.
Okay. I have to find the letter, but they didn't call it an eviction letter.
Well, you're calling it an eviction letter. The Attorney General called it a non-prejudice letter.
Yes, a without prejudice letter.
A without prejudice letter. No. The thing is, right? You are claiming that you are owed $15 million, in excess of $15 million.
Right.
The government is saying $3 million. That sounds like there needs to be a court case, right?
There's a $12 million disparity between
exactly. So that seems like it will be sorted out in the court unless there is some major negotiation and you come to an understanding as to how much will be paid, right? But in the meantime, the government is saying, but the land really has nothing to do with this arrangement. So do you think that bearing in mind that this matter is before the court, the government should have some leniency as it relates to the land?
Well, we requested mediation.
Mm-hmm.
So
local mediation?
Local mediation.
Right.
We even put names forward of mediators to hear the facts from both sides. Now, if my side didn't have the information and all the data so straightforward, we could see the need for a court case. But the Attorney General himself knows my case is so cut and dry solid. But he's recusing himself from it because he was my lawyer at the time, which is fine. But his lawyers, for the last 2 years, have held up this case from going forward in the court by claiming the arbitration. More than 2 years, like I said, August made 2 years we've been held up. So if they wanted to go to the court, it could have been done with by now. So what he's doing in this letter now, he's now saying he's removing the arbitration clause to allow us to go through the regular court. The problem with that is regular court, if we start again now, it's going to take 2 to 3 years to go through. And like I said,
so you are, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but I know that you have to go. You only have a few minutes left. So you are basically saying that you would prefer to find a solution, an amicable solution outside of the court system.
Yes.
That is what you're looking for.
Exactly. Well, outside the court system doesn't sound 100% right in terms of I'm willing to do mediation.
Yes.
I'm willing to sit down with them and say, look, this is what's on the paper. This is what you really could get. Let's exchange. I went as far as to the same day of his discussion with you. I should have waited till after, but the same day, I already instructed my solicitors, my lawyers, to give another proposal to the government. The proposal I gave basically would be me giving away $5 million. I told them, let's just settle this thing. debt for debt, debt for land, finish. That's a big bonus they will be getting because technically the land is only worth $6 million. All the improvements on the land are what I did to it. So you can't even put that value onto it. That's my improvement.
So you're willing to settle the matter, the land?
For the debt.
For the debt.
So what's happening, if they don't accept it, we gave them a deadline. Just what you said, you implied to, that, what's the next step? So the next step is I'm paying $1 million a year in interest. So I'm going to pay the $800,000, get this thing to International Court of Arbitration, which usually settles matters in 9 months. So in the 9 months, I should get a result, and they will say, okay, yes, Reg is owed $15 million. The price of the land is going to go from 11.7 to probably 12.7. So the government's going to have to pay me the difference and sell me the land. But at the end of the day, people will say, they're now paying 3 or 4 million, because remember, the 50 million is going to go up in interest as well. And the boats are going to get additional storage fees added onto it. So that 15 may come into 16 or 17. So people will have to ask, why didn't the government settle and just trade off the man with the land? Now the man you have to give them the land and another $5 million on top of that. So I'm hoping good sense will prevail. That's what I'm making an overwhelming good offer. Now, I find it difficult because the position that the Attorney General's office holds, if I didn't have the resources to fight this, if this is another company or person who didn't have the resources, I don't think it is fair for this kind of pressure to be put on a local person who has decades of investment in the country. And most important, that facility down there, it employs a lot of people. When it's busy, you'd find 70 to 100 people working down there. And I'm not talking about people minimum wage. Yes, we have minimum wage people. But we have people making $2,000, $2,500 a week working when it's busy time down there. Because these are people with skills, working with fiberglass, metal work, polishing. The list goes on. We have all aspects of marine work down there. Electricians come in and air conditioners come in, cleaners. You need to see what's happening down there. And I now have been distracted from building the business I really want to build. If you go down there now, you'll see 53 moorings boats. Before COVID, I was expecting to get 100 mooring boats a year. Now, each one of those moorings boats, we have to sand the bottom. We have to change the seals in the outdrive. We have to change the oil in the drive. We have to polish the sides. We have to pressure wash the deck. Guess what? I'm not doing that myself. I hire people, local people, to do that. That's money into the economy. Sometimes we have people working into the night on the lights. So this, as much as this is not all about Reg. This is about opportunities for the people of St. Kitts. We are one of the leading marine boatyards in the Caribbean. I'm not saying in the area, in the Caribbean. There's no space in St. Martin. If you ask the boaters if they could go to St. Martin and store for hurricane, they will tell you straight out, there's no way they could get a spot to haul out for hurricane. If they have to do maintenance, if you go by me now, you have 5 local ferries doing repairs by me. How many ferries do you think we have in St. Kitts? And 5 of them are down by me doing repairs. Right now you have the catamarans that do tours for the cruise ships. I could count Juve, Irie Lime, Eagle, and the other smaller ones. Those are all out doing maintenance in the yard right now.
Right.
I also give people opportunities by people coming in from overseas. For example, there's a company from St. Bart's. They bring 15 mega yachts here. So people come in, they bring in some of their own people to do work. They're French. But when they come here, guess what? They rent cars, they rent houses, they buy food in supermarkets, they go by the bars and they drink after work. French people, they love to have a good time. And this is all money going into the economy. So down there is not about about Reg Francis alone. It's beyond that. I should have been focusing my resources in getting that second pier in for the cruise ships to come in. I should have been focusing on fixing my breakwater so then I could make the spot down there for moorings to make St. Kitts a port of entry for the moorings. a charter point for the charter companies to start. That is my next big step. I have them on the hook for it. They say, once you put in the infrastructure, they're ready to come. So then what will happen? People fly in from overseas, stay in a hotel for 1 or 2 days, then go on a boat charter, then come back to St. Kitts, and then stay in a hotel again, then fly out to St. Kitts. All that would be money for St. Kitts. But instead of that, for the last 3 years, I've been fighting the government to get paid and to pay them for the land, so I could even put down a building. They're not letting me put down a building. If you go down there, you see all these containers. Because I don't have the title, they don't want to put down permanent structures. I was actually building a bathroom, and they stopped me. They're all in effort just to squeeze me. I don't know why they're squeezing me, but I'm moving ahead. My next step, yes, we have our plans. And the minister came on, the Attorney General came on and said that they have no plans. I can't see how he could say that. But then the minister for number 4 will sign an agreement to build a new port at New Guinea. So maybe they're not communicating with each other, or maybe somebody's lying. So I have to move forward as if they have plans, because he wrote and told me that same letter. I'm looking for the page, because when he read, I heard him reading something that he offered to sell me the land at the 6.5 if I withdraw my cases. So the item on here, which drew my attention and said all end to everything. He says, however, I quote from the letter here now, if your client fails to withdraw the claims, the government will, A, proceed to evict St. Kitts Marine Works and its business operations from the lands, and pursue full recovery of the net debt owed, 8.42 million, through legal proceedings. Now, that means he's going to throw me off the land and then charge me for the land that he's throwing me off. So when I read this, I'm like, this is crazy. This is 3 days after they signed an agreement in Grenada to say that there'll be a port project. How does that seem like a coincidence? One, they pulled the arbitration, which tied me up for 2 years, where I can't get to proceed in the court. Now I'm ready to proceed because they know I sold the house. They know I'm ready to proceed with the arbitration. He's insisting I withdraw my case. And not only, it says, it's saying I should not only withdraw my high court case, I should forego the rights to arbitration with the government.
So, Mr. Francis?
Yes.
But I have a question. If you withdraw all of it, what would you get in exchange?
Oh my goodness! You couldn't have asked a better question. I'm going to have to send you the letter. So he's offering, if I withdraw my case, they will consider what lands they will give me. They didn't tell me what they will give me now.
But you have a document.
This is what they wrote to me. I don't have. I'll have to get your number, Griot, so I can send it to you so you can read it.
I'll send you the information.
Yeah. So this is a 3-page letter he wrote to me. His office wrote to me. Let me correct. I'm sorry. His office has been doing the communication, not the Attorney General. So they're saying they will consider what lands they will give me, and they will everything is considered. So at the end of the day, I could withdraw my $15 million claim. They will sell me the land for the $6.5 million, but they're not sure how much land they'll sell me. So they could end up saying they'll sell me 1 acre. That's within the terms of the contract. I can't live with that.
That doesn't sound much like a negotiation. That sounds more like a little shakedown.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for using that term. That's why I said I can't consider this a settlement agreement.
But, Mr. Francis, I have to push back because, again, the Attorney General was here, and again, you said that you listened to the program 3 times. So yes. I'm certain that you heard him say that there is no attempt at all to remove you from the land. The government likes business. I am quoting the Attorney General, that the government is happy that you are doing what you are doing with the land, and there is no threat of eviction during the hurricane season. Now, there seems to be the idea that you have gone public with this information because you're trying to get the sympathy of the public. So tell us a little bit, is that so?
Well, I am bringing the matters to the public because the Attorney General's office wrote to me threatening eviction if I don't withdraw my cases. And I do not intend to withdraw my cases. That's one. Two, I had to let my clients know there's a possibility I will get evicted.
Okay.
I think it's only reasonable to let them know that, hey, I'm not going to have a boatyard. The government said that they will evict me if I don't withdraw my case. I have to let them know that.
So you have to go. We have 1 minute left.
but hold on.
No, man.
Here is it that the Attorney General said they're not evicting Reggie. Reginald Francis is saying that he has a letter stating that there's possible eviction. How do we consolidate those?
They didn't say possible, you know. They said they will proceed with eviction. I sent the copy of that letter to her, I think yesterday or the day before. So you could see it. It didn't say they will consider. They will proceed with eviction, and they will proceed to collect $8.4 million from me in addition, which will be the price of the land.
So, Mr. Francis, what's the next step? Because again, I know that you have to go.
Did you pay the arbitration fee of $800,000?
I didn't pay it out as yet. I gave we gave a counter offer on Friday, a final settlement offer, which, like I said, was to pay debt for land, and everybody walks away happy.
Debt for land with some cash on the back end.
Boy, I'm not even saying cash on the back end. That's what I'm saying. That's a sweetheart deal they're getting. If they don't do it, then we will proceed with arbitration.
Okay, so let's
obviously we have other aspects we will do as well, but for the public.
What are those other aspects? Because I mean, if you mention them, I'm going to ask.
We have tactics. Our tactics for what's the word I'm looking for? Our legal strategy. We don't want to reveal it completely.
Right.
But rest assured, if the Attorney General is not being 100% accurate, or if they change their mind about the eviction, we have plans in place. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Which has only come up recently, because
I have seen reports that you plan to move to St. Lucia. Can you confirm those reports?
Those were options. Those were options, but not anymore. Oh. Because when this thing first happened, I thought the government could do whatever they want. You can't fight it. If they're getting $40 million from somebody, U.S., that's $108 million EC, by the way. So think of it as $108 million. I can't match those pockets of those other foreigners. So if they're going to throw me out, all I could do is take up my equipment, take up my piles, and go somewhere where I'm welcomed.
And you'll be welcomed in St. Lucia?
Oh, absolutely. You know how many islands would love to have my operation there? My setup would be welcomed nearly any island.
Okay.
What do you think your investment brings into the country on an annual basis?
I have not done those numbers, but it is substantial. The last valuation I had done by me was nearly $25 million US for my setup. And I have purchased a second travel lift. I have a forklift. I just bought a brand new mini excavator. I've been doing everything basically for cash. I have no loans. I sold my mother's house so I could get the money to fight the arbitration. Obviously, I didn't want to go to the bank and try to get a loan.
You mentioned that you only have 6 years to file?
Yes, the statute of limitation on a claim.
Have you filed this yet?
Oh, yeah, we filed in the standard court, which is what for the last 2 years we've been on pause because of the stay the government put in because of the arbitration. We have been trying to do this in the court. So as much as you say we should go to the courts, we've been trying to do it in the courts. But
no, I didn't say that you should go to the courts. I said that sounds like where it's going to end up.
No, the minister said this should have been tried in the courts and not in the public. But I had to come in the public for 2 reasons. One, because of my customers, and two, because I thought this threat was illegal. I thought it's illegal. How could the Attorney General of a country, the Attorney General's office of a country, insist on you withdrawing a case, otherwise they will evict you?
So you mentioned, and this is maybe a little light note, but you mentioned that the Attorney General is your friend and your neighbor?
Yes, I can't leave my gate. Both of us can't leave at the same time. One has to leave first.
So my good people, that was Reginald Francis speaking with Jamie and Mr. Nubian there, Guia, and Freedom FM yesterday, giving his side of the story. We are almost at the top of the hour to get going. So, my good people, I'm going to call it that for this evening. I want to big up and thank the good people at Island Purified Water, Main Street, Newton Ground, St. Kitts, for keeping the DJ hydrated when he's in our beloved Federation. I also want to touch my boy there, brother. Attention vehicle owners and operators. Your driving experience just got better. Yes, you heard it right. 3A's Auto Services, located Main Street, Sandy Point, St. Kitts, where you have tire sales and installation, vehicular repairs, and other services. You can reach Mr. Aston Porker at 869-664-2204, 869-667-2071, or 869-665-0605. Yes, 3A's Auto Services, located at Main Street, Sandy Point, St. Kitts, just above the Brimstone Hills Fortress. And you can reach out to them for emergency roadside services. Remember, Brother Aston Corker is available 24/7. Just call those numbers.
I just want to drive your motor car. I just want to drive your motor car. Drive it.
Yes, that's 3A's Auto Services, there, Main Street, Sandy Point, St. Kitts, touching the man, Brother Aston Corker. Well, my good people, let's take a run across our sister island there, Queen City, Nevis. I hear my boy Carbo have to say to the good people online this evening.
Cabos, located at Fountain Village in Nevis, is the go-to spot for your Saturday treat. Tantalize your taste buds with his delectable Cabos Delicacy Goat Water. Or, if you prefer some soul food, then Cabos Fungi and Fish is definitely the way to go. Call ahead and reserve at 869-663-9694. Then make your way over to Cabos and enjoy the vibrant atmosphere while you savor your delicacy. Cabos, we are not changing, we are only improving.
Food all over. Food all over. You got the food all over.
Yes, and Brother Carbo has the food right there all over Nevis. So let's take a quick listen to my girl, your sister Carmen of Carmen Caterers.
Girl Sandra, you know where you can find nice fresh local food 7 days a week, one provision and all kind of thing. Girl, where? Right down there by Shellings, by Carmen Catering Services. Girl, she opposite the bus stop. Girl, and she also cater for weddings, parties, anything you want to cater for, funeral and all. Girl, and trust me, you're gonna enjoy the food. And she also selling bites and Sundays. Opposite the car shop, right down the main road. Girl, you could call 665-1494 or 663-6005 to order your food or go and pick up your food. Girl, the food will be finger licking and you get your money worth. You ain't want nothing better than that.
For sure you don't. That Sister Carmen there. Monday to Saturday, down there at the Shirlane, opposite the West Ferry Terminal, from midday until 5 p.m. on a weekly basis. On a Sunday, you catch Sister Carmen right there in Boyd's Village, opposite the Agara shop, from 12 until. But Sister Carmen is telling us now that this coming Tuesday, I think it is, Heroes Day, Carmen will be there in Boyd's Village at the bus stop right opposite the Agara. Let's take a listen to Sister Carmen.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmen from Carmen Catering Services. I just want you to know that Carmen will be open for the holidays in Boyd's. Yes, for the National Heroes Day and for Independence Day, we will be open in Boyd's right on the main road opposite a Garo shop. You can't miss it. So come on there and get your nice, lovely Independence lunch.
Okay, so that's Sister Carmen inviting you to get your independence lunch at National Heroes Day, right there in Boys Village, opposite the Ogara shop there in lovely Boyd's Village. Now, my good people, you have come to that point. It's at 6 o'clock, at the top of the hour. We're going to drop the unofficial anthem of our beloved Federation of St. Kitts Nevis, and the DJ will be out of here, so this should take me down to about 6:10 as we stand by to hear the late great King Arrow wishing all lovely independence when it's ripe, and I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday.
Your country dying and never lend a helping hand. Would you see your children's future dwindling, creating much disillusion? Or would we watch on idly, disregarding our self-sufficiency? Maladministration reunification, building a brand new nation. We'll move on together, hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. Building a wall so massive or a bridge, don't care how small, as one tends to divide our people, the other unite us all. Unambitious men just cannot be a part of this community. Displaying selfishness, a total lack of interest. No, I said no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct our mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. Indulging corruption or misusing public office, being accused of unemployment and crimes, or disrupting a citizen's peace. Oh, my country in this harmony, separated politically, hatred for a brother. Let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct our mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We'll move on together hand in hand. So rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours.
Yes, my good people, and that's the end of another successful podcast here on Wednesday evening, Wednesday, September the 10th, 2025. My good people, don't forget to save the date. Our awareness march will take place on Friday, September 26th, gathering there right opposite the Rams supermarket at the roundabout. We'll have a little stroll around from 3 to 6 p.m. on the 26th of September. Until such time, my good people, stay safe, and love is the answer at all times.